All right. Thank you for joining. Today we'll take a look at Arbitrum, ARB, USDT on the Bybit chart. And let's start with just a quick zoom out so you can see this price action. So ever since we made highs at around $2.40, it's just been a continuous sell-off to the downside, reaching lows of about 25 cents. Now, in terms of a bull market, bear market, clearly looks like we are in a bear market, right? So since the beginning of 2024, it's just been nothing but lower lows and lower highs. Even though we had this nice little run up here, it failed to make a new high. Just continued to sell off lower, lower, lower. And it's almost like an identical thing, right? So if you actually take a look at what's happening here, it almost looks completely identical to what happened here, right? Massive wick to the downside, consolidation, tried to impulse higher, sold off to even lower, nice little impulse to kind of match those highs right around here, $1.25 before selling off some more, right? And it's the same thing, wick to the downside, downward momentum, impulse, tried to get to this high, continuous sell to the downside. So this right here, excuse me. So this right here is almost like a bigger fractal of this smaller one, or the smaller one is a fractal of this bigger one right here. But as you can see, as we start to zoom in a little bit more, we are finding some sort of a consolidation, right? So once again, it's very similar to what happened here, but it kind of already played out. But as you can see, right now, this is in a consolidation period. So these are the highs, and then these are the lows. Very key areas to keep an eye on, and I'll even go ahead and mark it out a little bit more clear here, right? So those are the range highs. And then these will be the range lows, right? So it's good to mark that out because now we can zoom in and you get a little bit more of a clear picture of what's going on, right? So price continued to move down. You know, there was a little bit of a support zone made at 31 cents, right? Support, lost it, back tested it, failed. Then we got a nice impulse to break back into this channel, right? So this is a channel or a range, whatever you want to call it, right? Highs and lows. So now we broke back inside. We're consolidating, flipping this resistance into support. Price came down. Wicked took this low, right? Impulse a little bit higher. And also it bounced off of this demand zone right here. Because as you can see, if you zoom in, which is very important, look at the 4 hour. This candle doesn't even have any wick to the downside. So the moment this 4 hour candle opened, it was just buy orders, and more buy orders, 10%, 11% pump to the upside. So what does that tell us? That tells us that there is most likely some resting orders right here, right? Buy orders. And after price failed to move higher of about 38 cents, it moved back down close to where that buy order was, kind of front running it a little bit before impulsing higher. As you can see, this was technically another resistance. Price tapped it, right, into that supply, moved down lower, tested where those existing orders were before having a decent size bounce to the upside, right? So on the higher time frames, it doesn't look like that big of a bounce, but once you pull your percentage tool here, you can see that was a 7% move to the upside. So what can we say now with Arbitrum? Is what would be interesting for me is if price was to come back down to this low. Maybe there's still some more orders underneath here. Let's go ahead and put a SFP here. So it would be nice to see price come back down, take the lows one more time before moving higher, right? And as you can see, what I was going over before with the 4 hour, it's kind of the same thing here with the 30-minute, right? So you can go ahead, almost mark that there. So right around that zone on the 30-minute, you can mark it if you want. around 31 cents. There should be some more resting orders. And if you really like to see it take that low, that would also make sense too as well, right? Because there's always going to be some orders below pivots, because that's just where a lot of people keep their stop losses. So it would be very interesting to see price also come down, sweep this low a little bit before moving higher too as well. If we do end up moving higher from these lows, you're talking about a 20% to the next major resistance. And obviously once you start getting above that, the next area I would be looking at would be these highs, right? Which would be sitting at around 50% from possible entry area. Now, is there any other confluences going on? Let's see. Yeah, look at that. We have a golden pocket also sitting at this level. So I'm going to go ahead and add an alert to that level, because now it's definitely a lot more important. So let's go ahead and just see what happens to Arbitrum over time. You know, locally it is more bullish, right? Higher highs, higher lows, higher high. Even though we have this correction going on here, if price does hold this zone, it's technically a higher high, right? If it holds that zone, it's technically a higher high. So we're going to see if it does hold that zone. If so, yeah, I would be looking to see price at least test these highs, right? But in my opinion, liquidity. Yeah, I would be trying to hold this for more of a swing trade up to maybe 45 cents would be nice. But take profits along the way. Obviously, probably take profit 1 would be right around here. Take profit 2 would be right around there, right? So that's pretty much it with Arbitrum. Long story short, thank you for joining. Like and subscribe. And yeah, leave a comment down below if any projects you'd like to see me chart. All right, take care.